This is a critical moment with precious metals, and I don't want you to buy another ounce more until you watch this video. Hey everyone, thank you for watching Yankee Stacking. Yes, we have broken through some support levels with gold and silver ahead of what I think will be a monumental movement up. I wanted to share this video with you because I'm going to be making a huge shift with what precious metals I'm buying and when I'm buying it. This video is really a direct outgrowth of a recent video I had with Lee Organtz. Also some other videos that I've done. My downright gorging on economic news, data, and podcasts by economists that I trust. Also talking with Tim. And a very interesting conversation that I had with Mrs. Yankee on our deck, where I really learned a lot more about her feelings on silver and gold. Guys, I believe we are at an inflection point with the price of silver and gold. I think we are seeing that as well with premiums. Now, I'm not a professional financial advisor, so don't misconstrue any of my comments here in this video as financial advice for you. You got to do your own research like I have and make your own decisions when it comes to your hard-earned money. But for me, I'm taking a highly tactical move. And this move is based on several macro trends. The first one is recession. Guys, I believe we are already in a recession. I don't think it's going to be short-lived or, die off quickly like it did with COVID. No, this is a big one. It's an inflationary recession, something that I don't think anyone living has fully experienced before, something that our banking system has not factored in, and I do know a little bit about that. I used to work at a bank. I remember the stress tests that we would do. They aren't looking at a recession where inflation is out of control. So this is a big deal, guys. The second macro trend or thing I'm looking at is with the Fed. I just saw some horrible news about how this presidential administration is forcing social equity down the throat of our central bank. Forget the Fed's dual mandate of price stability, full employment. That's all going to be sacrificed on the altar of woke politics. Okay, this is going to be terrible and will exacerbate the recession. Bad news with the Fed. I'm going to mention the Fed again in a bit, but let me talk about another thing that this is going to affect, and that is real estate. I believe that the air is coming out of the real estate bubble, and I think it's going to pop soon. I see it in numerous ways, like the listings that are going up right here in our own state. Shoot, in my own neighborhood, I'm seeing signs going up for sale all around. And you know why? Because I think they're trying to get a jump on the bust. They're trying to sell their homes now rather than later, and that is driving inventories up.
When you love silver as much as me, it's really easy to get carried away. Sometimes I just can't keep my hands off of a good deal. So when SD Bullion told me that they wanted to give away some silver for free, I was happy to lend my voice for the cause. Now how much silver are they giving away, you ask? Boom! Yes! 500 brand new Silver Eagle coins will be going to one of you. Just click the link below and enter for your chance to be the next big winner. Yep, okay, got it.
I rode my bike recently down to the post office to drop off some Yankee Stacking mail and also to pick up some friend mail. And I overheard this lady, probably middle-aged lady. I couldn't hear everything. I didn't want to, come across as like eavesdropping, but it was a fascinating conversation that they were having outside the door. And she, I think, is one of the reps in our town. And she said, that there was like 38 families struggling to pay their property taxes, having liens placed on their homes. She said she had never seen it like that, even back during the Great Recession. People, it's coming. And I've actually given advice to my daughter and her husband to wait to buy their first home. I know that is so hard for them to do. They're like, really, Dad? I mean, come on. But they're doing the right thing. They're saving money. They're getting ready to purchase their first home. And by saving, I don't think they're going to have to worry about rates so much. They're not going to have a very big mortgage. Good for them. And speaking of mortgages, did you take out a mortgage over the last couple of years? Well, then it's a good chance that the holder of your loan is none other than the Federal Reserve Bank of America. This is another consequence of that monetary stimulus that we had during the pandemic. And it amounts to a $2.7 trillion mortgage problem for the Fed. They're faced with a series of political and economic nightmares as it attempts to shrink its portfolio of mortgage-backed securities. That's another reason why I think we're going to see a crash in the housing industry. They stimulated the housing market with ultra-low mortgage rates, and they also stimulated the refi market. But with rates now going up, these mortgages are likely to stay on the Fed's balance sheets indefinitely. I mean, they could start selling the securities on the open market. They did hint at that in the minutes of their March policy meeting, down the road someday, but that's going to create problems of its own. If the Fed sells mortgage securities that pay low rates at a time when prevailing rates are much higher, it will incur big financial losses. That's going to reduce the amount of funds that the central bank can put back into the Treasury. Plus, if they do try to sell these mortgages on the open market, that's going to push mortgage rates up even further. See, the bottom line is that the Fed's insane overreaction to the pandemic fueled a housing boom, and it's going to bust sooner or later. I think sooner. Finally, or at least for this video, because I could go on and on here, but I want to talk about the dollar. Okay, the DXY is now over 105 last I checked, super high. Yes, not near the highs of the 1980s or back in 2001, but that was a totally different time. Okay, there was practically no debt compared to what's on the Fed's balance sheet today. We can't have a strong dollar. We can't. It's messing up our trade balance. It will absolutely revert back to the mean. And I think most likely plummet at some point in this decade. By the way, the dollar dropping is tremendously bullish for silver and gold. So that's another reason why, another macro trend that I'm watching very carefully. What does that mean for the Yankee household when it comes to precious metals, investing, so forth? Well, first I'm looking at gold and silver's performance during a recession, actually during recent recessions in history. Silver dropped 21% during this last mini recession, during the COVID crisis, all right? But back in 2008, the Great Recession, silver went down 50%. Remember, silver is an industrial metal. Okay, so when people panic over a recession, it affects the industrial use of silver. Now, gold hardly dipped at all during the pandemic recession, I guess you could call it. But back in 2008, the Great Recession, it went down 25%. That's during the recession. And I believe something similar will be happening this time around. I expect silver, and to a lesser extent gold, to see dramatic drops in the spot price. I'm going to go back to the Fed because this is important. I think they're hopelessly political. Okay, they're supposed to be independent. I think that's garbage. I think they're also going to be even more so during a pivotal midterm election year. In my opinion, the Fed will completely succumb to the pressure placed on them by a desperate presidential administration. And that pressure is going to be for them to stop fighting inflation and start fighting recession, the inflationary recession that we're in. So I'm looking squarely at what gold and silver are likely to do after the recession, when the Fed pivots. And I know a lot of pundits out there are looking at 2023 as the year of the pivot. I don't think we're going to make it that long. There was a Fed president that recently said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, we don't really need to raise interest rates as much as people are thinking we need to. I mean, guys, they're already preparing for the pivot. A pivot away from quantitative tightening into quantitative easing. Easy money, also rates. Not raising, but dropping them. They're going to rescue the stock and bond markets. They're going to rescue a collapsing real estate market. And you know what? They're going to say, oh, this is a crisis that nobody could have foreseen. Okay, so that pivot is coming. I'm seeing a massive resumption to the gold and silver bull market. My gold and silver mining stocks are going to be really happy about that. And some people argue that it's going to be gold, all right, that leads silver. Well, some people say it's going to be silver that leads gold. I don't know. But I think it's probably going to be gold that rises first. That's traditionally what happens. And since I've stacked silver hard for 4 years, I feel that gold should be the focus for me. Now, let me talk just a bit more on real estate. And I admit that this is going to be controversial, may ruffle a few feathers in the comments, that's fine. But Mrs. Yankee and I are evaluating a couple of private mortgage lending options that we have with a couple of developers / flippers that I've worked with for a long time. Yes, I said real estate is likely going to go bust, but remember, not all real estate is created equal. Okay, not all real estate reacts the same way either. Not all real estate reacts negatively during a recession. Many properties that were collateral for the loans that I had made back even in 2008 did well. They were focused on being shelter rather than being some high-end single-family home that was overly priced. Occupancies in the properties that I was loaning against stayed consistent. I never once came even close to foreclosing on a loan of mine. And even if I had been forced to foreclose, the loan to values that I had, the LTVs, were low enough to make me whole. And that was during the Great Recession too. So I am definitely still looking at private mortgage lending. Real estate's hyperlocal, folks. Not all areas of the country are going to experience the same gigantic downturn that I think is coming. Finally, I got to tell you this. I have a phenomenal real estate partner who is literally letting me hold earmarked funds for his company in my self-directed IRA for when this all goes south. Okay, they are cash rich. They're waiting to pounce on foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and that's when they want me to wire the funds. That's been our arrangement since December 2020, and they've been making interest payments to me every single month since then at 7.6% APY. Don't have to worry about the stock market. I get 7.6%. Now, I'm not sure if there's going to be an appetite for them for more funding, but I'll be discussing it with them. And we'll also be considering another private equity option I have with a different company I've worked with. So anyways, they're not a done deal. And Mrs. Yankee wants us to protect more of our wealth in gold. Okay, she said, you got 2,000 ounces of silver, Yankee. Let's not buy so much silver. Buy more gold. She thinks that is a wise strategy. So it's going to be more gold. It's going to take a higher priority for me. We discussed timing. We discussed methods, what tranches we should do. We also discussed from whom to buy from. And in fact, if you listen to this entire video all the way to the end, I'd be curious to know what bullion dealers you think I will be considering first. There's actually, I'll give you a hint, 2 of them, okay? 2 bullion dealers. And I want you to put those 2 who you think I'm going to use first in the comments below, okay? The 50th correct comment that has both bullion dealers will win this piece of silver. All right, this is a buffalo round. It's cull. It's scratched up. That'll be for the 50th correct comment, and I should say 50th person. Okay, not the 50th comment from one person. Okay, the 50th person, and don't reply to some other comment either. Right, so just put your comment in there. 50th, right? So anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button right now. Okay, like this video. It will help the YouTube algorithm. It'll get it in front of more eyes. I'll keep you informed of my upcoming decisions with gold and silver. And as always, I hope your day is A-OK.